Welcome in, episode 441 of the Real Life Podcast. I think we're calling this, the Evander Kane interview debrief?
The post-game. The post-interview episode.
Chalmers breaks down how he thought we did on the Evander Kane
cuck
interview.
chair.
Yeah, from the cuck chair. I got to sit behind the camera. I was not given a microphone. I'm going to be rattled about that for a while. I don't know what happened. But here, you guys did a fucking hell of a job with him. And man, is that one charming fella.
He really is. He's very well. He's very well spoken.
Yeah.
You know, he was very forthcoming with everything. Like he just told it as it was. And
how dare he chirp me on my hoodie size?
Well, to be fair, you don't look like a large.
Well,
but you are tall.
I'm
taller
than expected,
and that's the thing. Yeah, it's your height. Yeah. He probably. Did you stand up to shake?
I did.
When he was talking about the Phi clothing, he was talking about that it was kind of built for his body type, which is a long leg, long arms.
Super in shape.
If I had a microphone at that time, I would have made a very funny quip about how the Phi clothing might not be for me. But then because I am not long-legged and not long-armed. But then he said, just get a small, man. And I was like, you're right, Evander Kane. Get a small.
Yeah, you tell me to buy a small, I will buy a small.
Something that can accommodate the thighs. And something that can accommodate long arms. Like I have to wear double XL shirts sometimes just so to accommodate my arm length. And then as a result, I'm wearing as Evander said about some guys on the team or how some people dress sometimes looks like they're wearing a tarp. I'm wearing this giant sail on me that if it gets windy, I can just get blown away.
That's a nice looking unit there. He
even commented on it. He commented about how nice my shirt is.
Did he know it was a fishing? Is that Queen?
Well, that's not the brand.
No, but it's the place that you bought it from, which is obviously the fishing lodge that you went to up north.
Yeah, it's the fishing lodge on there. But yeah, the brand is something else. It's very fancy.
Yeah. So and I don't know if you guys know this, but what I would have asked him too is he said it's going to be in 3 stores in the mall. Did he not want to release something like that?
There's still details on it.
Probably be Zellers for sure. That's
Zellers,
Sand
Target.
Store.
Yeah, Target's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, because I think they're still working out the details on it. I bet you'll be kind of interested. Oh God, I can't talk.
Good point.
I think I'm still reeling from this interview. That was very, very amazing, very milestone event for the nation. But I still think they're working out the details, and we'll be impressed with the stores that they're actually in, given the connections he had. So when that event gets closer, I'm sure they'll let us know, and maybe we can, have him back or do something with him to help promote it. But that was crazy. We had an active Oiler come into Oilers Nation HQ and do a show with us.
A very public one. It's not. I don't mean to disrespect any other players, but not a bit player, man. This is a top 3 player on our team.
Yeah,
that you just had in the studio to interview.
It's given how we never get access to Oilers. It's still really surprising, even though the interview just
even though we knew it was happening, I was like, this isn't happening.
I'm going to pull back the curtain on this, even as an outsider sitting in this room with you guys. We normally tape this thing at a certain time, and it was about the time that he was supposed to come. But it felt like you guys weren't sure he was coming until he walked through that door. Well, because and even though he said he was going to, and I believe he's a man of his word, but it's like he's such a big get that until you actually physically lay eyes on him, you're not going to believe it. Yeah, it's too good to be true.
And it's nothing against him because we were talking with his manager, right? So it's not like we were talking directly to him. So to me, it's been mind blowing because we've had I guess I was gonna say present, like active Oilers potentially coming on our show before, and it got kiboshed.
Yeah.
And this time, that's why I was like, okay, we'll believe when we see it. And then when we see him wheel out front, we're like, oh my God, that is Evander Kane. And
one other thing I think
in front of our building.
One other thing I think we learned from that interview is that there's a second member on the No Donaire bandwagon, and that is I wish it's Kane and Chalmers. It's called Kane and Chalmers against Donaires.
We should have almost kept rolling on that because after we stopped rolling, he had more hot takes on why he doesn't want to try a Donaire.
He was not about it. He was not about that lifestyle, and I don't blame him and I said to him, just don't. You don't need to.
The 2 things blew me away about the food thing. Like, obviously, as he said, he's a very particular eater, which whatever. We all have our thing, and that's fine. I'm also part of the No Onion Club, so I respected he said that. But the fact that he said his favorite place to eat is Coliseum.
That was such a deep pull.
Oh my God!
Like you could have given me 150 guesses.
I looked at him
Never
and I was
would've
like,
got
he's gonna say Cactus Club. He's gonna say Cactus Club.
No.
He's gonna say Cactus Club.
Cactus Club.
I thought he was going to pick like
Did you know how many of those guys go to Cactus Club? Like,
Yeah,
No,
but-
understood. But like I thought for like a meal, he would go like a bougie pasta place or something along those lines.
right.
But like this
deep-
is like
deep cut.
institutional, home style, family owned restaurant.
That right there showed me that like there was two things that showed me that he's invested in the Oilers, and one that was one. He's obviously not just like ordering food at home. He's going out to Coliseum Steak and Pizza. And second of all, that's my phone. Second of all, when he said that the playoff, when did he sign that next year contract? When
after
was
the
that?
postseason.
After the postseason?
First day of free agency or right before free agency?
When
Yeah.
Because he was allowed to go talk to other teams and then eventually circle back on the Oilers.
Yeah.
Oilers fans, this is something for you that during the playoff run, the atmosphere that you created, that we created here, sold him on staying here.
Well,
And our beautiful falls.
And our beautiful falls. Yeah,
River
River Fall.
Valley.
Who doesn't love the fall in the River Valley? I mean,
Well, that was interesting though because all of us in the room went to playoff games. We saw the insanity in
Yeah.
there. So to hear hit from his perspective was fun.
yeah. Yeah, and the fact that that's what he said it, and I don't know if anybody really keyed in on it, but that's what he said was like the nail in the coffin kind of for him signing that he wanted to be here was that feel.
And also, he talked about how right now in the room, that's the talk, right? It's like, hey, we need to earn a chance to get that again from our fans, and they want those moments. They want to have Game 1 at Rogers Place, and like the team's got to turn it around for that to happen. So I like that conversation is even happening a little bit.
Yeah.
It was cool, man.
I thought it was going to be like, obviously he's done a bunch of media and he's very well spoken, but still like.
You also just felt like you were talking to a guy.
That we were just having a conversation and he wasn't like, he gave genuine, like articulate answers. Like, it's like we talked about like, what do we need to do to like get better for the rest of the season? Like, and he was honest.
It's no surprise to me that he's very well aware of the narrative around him. Even at the time when he was not with the Oilers.
I said, like, there was resistance when you signed here.
Yeah, and there was. And I mean, I could be guilty of it as well. But like the fact is like winning and performing, they are the great elixir. And when you know, that's also one thing that we've got to be more careful of, and that is the narrative that we're being sold out in the world, you know, the parts that we're seeing, you know, and it's it's difficult to see the difference between the two. It's difficult to like wade through the waters of it all. Right?
I loved his reaction when I was like, man, you threw up the 7 and people thought you were bragging about how many goals you had. And it did kind of go to show the point he made earlier. So it made me think about it when he was like, people just kind of believe whatever
Yeah,
they
I think
hear
he's
about
got that chip on his shoulder that there's always going to be a narrative against him. And guys like him, you know, they have that for better or for worse or for right or for wrong. He's going to always have that narrative around him. There's always going to be haters, you know. There's tons of people like that out there, and they have to be aware of it. You have to. And that's, you know, he says he's always been in the community and he's always been doing things. And obviously when he's in San Jose or when he's in another market, like we don't see that because we're not watching. But when he's here and he's doing it and we're like, whoa, this guy's like really community minded. And he's saying to us, man, I've always been. You just haven't seen it. But it's amplified when you're in a market, in a Canadian market, and doing that. And, you know, you guys asked him, and it goes back to my long-standing thing about, like, we need to sell the stars and their personalities.
Well, that's why I loved, like, I was going to ask him, I had it written down on my sheet. If it was up to you, are you going to the game in a suit or are you wearing whatever you want? And I loved hearing him go, I'd probably do half and half, you know? I'd love to show up in whatever I want.
Yeah.
Show a little personality.
Yeah, and I mean, do you remember like in basketball, that old-minded thinking of when guys, that when they literally, the Steve Nash rule, Steve Nash would come looking like a dirty skater, and they were just like, we're not doing this anymore, you guys are all wearing suits, and then dudes just so letting people have their personalities is good, and people are going to wear what they want to wear, and like, it's no surprise to me that Leon was his pick for best dressed because I've seen some Instagram posts. I mean, the dude's a straight up male model if he wasn't a hockey player. Like,
a handsome fella.
He's a good looking fella, and he also has well fitted suits. But like, yeah, their personalities, man. Like, I swear to God, we would know so much more, and we'd be able to have a better opinion of these guys if they just were sold better. And it's such a fucking blind spot.
But he talked about
for this
too, like
league.
it's a two-way street. You need to find guys who like doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hockey players are also just known for not being like that too much. So it's only a handful.
Yeah, but that would be like the endearing part of it, though, for fans. Is you have a thing like Hard Knocks in the States with NFL. Remember when they used to do the lead up to the Heritage Classic between the two teams? I can remember the Pittsburgh Washington Capitals one. Yeah. It was so fucking good, right? This Heritage Classic just came and went. Who played in it, JR?
Did we do a Heritage?
Winter Classic.
The Winter Classic. I mean, sorry, the Winter Classic that just passed.
It was Pittsburgh, Boston.
Sure. And I literally wouldn't have known that unless you just told me. I knew that it was on the 2nd, but there's no build up to it. There's no hype. There's no.
But not for us. Yeah.
But why isn't there? Why isn't there a show?
Well, it's funny you say that.
I think those HBO shows, the ones that were doing the lead ups, I think the teams found them to end up being.
Then that's a team problem. That's a fucking organizational problem between the NHL and the teams that they want to keep this secret behind closed doors. You get so many more fans. The fact that NHL players are as reserved and as humble and soft spoken, and they're not all right. You're going to have your personalities that are going to stand out, but the fact that they're like that would endear them to fans. That's what fans of hockey love about these players, is that they're like this. So show them like this. Just, I don't know. I'm not a marketing. Well, I actually am a marketing major, but the fact is like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that there isn't like a show in Edmonton that we could watch about the Edmonton Oilers. Like they tried oil change.
It's supposed to be called Oilers Plus.
Oilers Nation every day, Chalmers.
Oilers Nation, or like Oilers Plus, is just, it has to be done by an outside source, or else it'll be.
Otherwise, it's just propaganda-ish.
I don't know. I'm talking to media. I'm talking to media with the media guys. I think I probably should just step back. I know what I crave.
That's where like you should like if that should be part of the content plan, is giving you the like more personal side of the players, so you can understand the person, their personality, and get to know them better, because it's those connections.
So yes. So we were talking the other day about the Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, MGM Bet commercial, the one where he's shooting pucks. Have you seen the newest one when they?
Yeah, I was just
when they race
new flavor.
Yeah.
Does that change your mind? I said that I really liked it. You said that they were just bad actors, or what was your view on that commercial when he's shooting pucks? His nets over there,
love it.
But somebody said they didn't like it. Was that you, Chuck? You know, an article that needs to go in the next 10 minutes.
Because he's wearing a hoodie on top of his equipment. That's why.
I'm listening to you. I heard that whole conversation. I don't like that commercial because I think the acting is just super cringy.
So that's
and the
my
dialogue's cringy.
And that's my point. But the first one was better than the second one. The second one is
the Zamboni
I had
one?
to take a step back. It's not very good acting in that one. and so you're kind of getting, oh my God, he's back to his computer.
I could answer.
Okay. Anyways,
Jay's leaving.
Jay
the room.
just left.
Jay's leaving. Baggedmilk's typing on his computer. So is your Chuck.
There's Evander Kane's manager, okay?
Listen, we just had a big interview, and Tyler and I are behind the scenes trying to make sure that goes up in a timely fashion.
Yeah, and it's not up yet.
Okay.
Like it's got to be up like right now? Did you post that video on Instagram? And I think you missed a big...
Actually, I will call him.
Okay,
Yeah,
you go.
call him
You
back.
go do that.
Call him back. Get him back here.
Yeah.
Just you ask him if he
Get
wants to
him
go
on the
watch the
phone.
World Junior game with me.
Yeah. I was going to ask him about the World Juniors.
So was I, but you didn't give me a mic. So
There
anyways.
was a fucking mic on the table.
Okay, so listen. What the hell were we just talking about now? Lost my train
The
of thought.
BetMGM commercials. Or
No. After that.
Evander Kane's agent, me and Baggedmilk being distracted, you not getting a mic, you being mad at the beer selection we have at the office.
It's pretty embarrassing.
It could be better.
It could be better. And Dog Patch is closed for the week, so I couldn't even get something on tap downstairs. So I'm drinking a Christmas beer
Yeah, I would have loved to have
from not this Christmas.
Yeah.
Nah,
From last Christmas.
Christmas past.
Well,
There's
whatever.
beer of Christmas past. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I totally didn't know where I was going there, but that's okay.
all good.
Oh, when he was here, I wanted to talk World Juniors with him because he had like a very successful World Juniors in 2009 where he won a gold, 6.6 games, pretty good. And then the next year, he was on the 2010 team, which came in 7th. And I was just wondering, like, is he going to walk? Like, how invested is a past NHL?
7th place finisher. And
He's gold medal, though.
gold medalist.
Anybody was an injured, he was an injury replacement in 2009.
Oh, really?
If you remember that, yeah. And yeah, so I just want to know, like, is he going home to watch this? Is it appointment viewing? How into the World Juniors are?
I gotta say, I did love seeing that the boys were still having bets. Obviously,
Yamamoto wearing the Canadian jersey.
Yeah, so Yamamoto wearing the Canadian jersey today. I love that. I love those.
I really think that the question where you guys asked him about his kind of route and him saying, I had to get back. I love getting back into the routine. You know, like I'm traveling with the team sometimes because even though he loves Edmonton, he's got to get out of like. I have often, and I was wondering this like 2 weeks ago. I don't even know why, but what's his level of engagement with traveling with the team? It's when you're under that amount of rehab and you're constantly having to do this, rehab. Do you travel with the team? Do you stay in touch with the boys? Do you go to the arena at all times when they're there?
Posted an Instagram story the other day of him in the room.
I find it really interesting, actually, that he's been there a lot. He's done
you should though.
He's
right?
done like hits in between periods with.
He did a full period of color commentary on the radio broadcast.
So good.
How was it?
I don't know. I didn't listen.
Okay.
I don't know either.
Yep. Sorry, I cut you off, Bag.
I watched the games.
No, I just got your text. I'm putting that up right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are texting.
We're just
Why don't you just talk about
we're just
it?
putting this screenshot up as a teaser.
On the daddy account.
Oh,
Daddy
this is
account.
what I was going to say. I think that we missed an opportunity to ask him, and we weren't going to do. We were going to be very professional with Evander,
And we were.
and you very, very much were.
We talked about getting hammered at playoff games.
Not a single picture. No,
But I was the one that was hammered, though.
No, off mic. I'm talking about off mic, no pic. But sitting right there, the three of you on this couch, I wanted to take a picture, like really badly.
Well, we got the video.
We have a screenshot.
Yeah.
It's on video.
Oh yeah, you guys take
It's the same thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you aware how video works?
Yeah.
Moving
So
pictures.
this is not a situation of pics or it
We
didn't
call that a
happen.
talkie these days.
Oh, you guys
A
just think of
motion
everything. You guys
picture.
just think of everything, don't you?
Oh, I uploaded the wrong file.
All right.
Can you? I'm not going to tweet it. Actually, Tyler, we're workshopping here until you've got that podcast uploaded.
Yeah. Like what the hell?
Do we have a description for it?
Question
for
for
But there's a part of it I have to take.
question for your Chuck.
Why don't you leave for 2 seconds and then come back like Jay did?
Because I'm recording this current episode on the same computer.
All right. Well, then I'm not going to post this teaser.
Okay, let's
until
not
you're
post
ready.
the teaser yet.
All right.
You guys want to take 5 or
No,
No. We'll keep rolling. This will be
We're
like a
workshopping.
shorter episode of the pod, but
I think people are going to like hearing us scramble while we're trying to figure
yeah.
it out.
Oh, it was
No, no,
funny.
no.
It was such a scrambly day because like we find out at
Right.
like 8:30, like yeah, he's coming. I was like, what? This is actually happening?
well, yeah. Yesterday you talked to me about it. I'm like, okay, I'm sure there's something that's gonna like come to fruition over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, you wake up, you're like, whoa.
Well, I saw the email came in saying, let's put some questions together here. And I was like, what? Because I looked at the name. I'm like, no, that's not happening.
wrong guy?
Chipped in thinking that was it. That was the end of the story. But then here he was on the couch.
Okay, so I guess from an outsider's perspective is you guys finished that interview 30 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago. We have this to do, which is obviously going to be shorter, but what is the urgency in getting out the teasers and that stuff? Like, does it have, is there, no, I'm just, but no, like, why can't it just wait like half an hour? And I'm not even saying that. And I'm being
people
serious.
need to hear what we had to say.
Right, but do you guys know that there's a certain amount of time that at Tim Hortons between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they always offer a chocolate snack on the mic because it is known that is a time when if people are going to Tim Hortons to get a coffee or a snack, that is a time when people feel like they just need something to keep going for the day. So they're trying to fill a need. So do you know that this is a time when people either check Instagram more or check the Oilers Nation website more?
Because they're getting tired of their workday.
Exactly.
We want to catch him for the drive.
Do you
home,
guys
Chalmers.
think I'm just asking these questions for no fucking reason?
Well,
Kinda.
I didn't know what your angle. I didn't know
Christ,
I didn't know what your
listen.
angle was. But if we can get this out for the drive home, it'll be well listened to.
So that's what I'm getting at. Is what you're hoping to get is that people will
Yeah.
be looking at their phone because it's almost the end of the day. They're at their work and they're going to go, holy shit, there's a special interview with Evander Kane. I'm going to download it. Maybe listen to it on the way home.
Because that's the way I'm thinking about it. It was like a 30-minute interview. We get it up for the ride home.
Yes.
I'm going to listen to that when they're in traffic.
Right. And so the flurry of activity that's happening in here, it's right. It's good to let people know about it because like why it's happening. And that's simply what my question was about. Giving people the insight.
Maybe people will listen while they're on their way to Montana's to watch the game. You know why, Chalmers? Because Montana's is bringing back the viewing party this season. They got new daily specials every single day. Today is Thursday. Boom. Drink specials. You already know. Montanas.ca is where you can go to find more info. Remember when we went to
delicious
Montana's?
ribs. Well, we also
Wednesdays are all you can eat ribs.
So
Montana's
we also
is like
need
the new
to
Chili's for me.
Explain that.
Chili's used to be like just a place that I would go because you knew the beer was cold, you knew the food was good, you knew it was consistent, and it had a home, like comforting atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Chili's is no longer there.
So Montana's has filled the hole in your heart.
You goddamn right it has.
I'm looking forward to this partnership again because I just really want to eat ribs.
Dude.
And we're going to do another real life contest and do another lunch. And Chalmers, you have to attend this time.
I will. Our last winner was our guy Bradley.
Yeah.
And he was great.
He was
You
great.
guys
We had a
were
great
matching
time.
Jays jerseys.
We
all
did
had a
wear
great
matching
time.
So
Jays
let's
jerseys.
do it. Let's open it up and
Okay,
let's have two winners
Here's the thing.
and bring two listeners for lunch.
I was hoping to come in here today and say, boys, I think we need to do like a podcast thing where we all, really work on our physical fitness for 2023 or 2023 because I personally gained probably about 7 pounds over the holidays.
Oh,
How did you guys do?
Easy.
Terrible.
Easy.
It was disgusting. These holidays were like perfect for the fact that you had Christmas. The time between Christmas and New Year's is just like
What
lose
day
track
is
of
it?
And it was
time
a
and
full
dates.
week this time, too.
Yeah,
Like, there was
dude.
no real work days in there. I know some people went back for a couple of days if you worked like a 9 to 5, but like a lot of them were like days in lieu, like popped in there.
And every night there was a reason to have like a beer or a cocktail.
Buddy, I was like, if you looked at my counter the other day, there was 7 or 8 empty bottles of red wine. There was just cheese wrappers and charcuterie boards and bread and chocolate.
So many
and
appetizers.
everything that happens at this time of
So I need
season.
like an intervention, and we tried to do that Peloton thing with that
Mainlander Tim. Sorry.
Mainlander Tim.
I don't know why. I didn't understand like the thing that he set up. Like I just thought we should like do a live ride together.
I rode last night for the first time in a long time.
I
almost had a heart attack.
I'm gonna be back.
I think I almost had a heart attack.
I came back from skiing. I skied I went on a 6-day ski trip. I skied 5 days.
Jeez,
Pardon
how's
the
the
legs.
legs were barking, eh?
Oh, the dogs were barking. But you know what we started doing? I channeled our inner Mark Leteste and we started crushing mustard.
Did that help
Oh.
in any way?
It does,
Even
man.
spiritually?
It you know what? It doesn't. I picture Mark Leteste, and I think that is the motivation to fix my legs, not necessarily the mustard. But
There are kids on my U11 team who have Ziploc bags of packets of mustard.
Really? They
I
do it.
swear. One kid has smelling salts.
yeah, that's
Oh, I feel like that kid's killing his brain cells. He's got to stop.
No, yeah. Well, I don't. The mustard goes well. They love the mustard.
I
They
did
think
a
it's really
smelling
cool.
salt one time. I got tickets right behind the bench at an Oilers game, and it was Jay's dying again. I was right behind the bench.
He just rode the
And
Peloton.
we were just like between periods, and I'm sitting there with my dad, and I'm having a beer, looking around, and then I'm like waving at the trainer, but just being a shithead. And he throws me one of those smelling salts. I have never experienced something like that.
It'll clear you up.
It'll wake you right up. Now Tyler's leaving.
Do you know what was a legit concern about me in the Peloton last night?
what's that?
When I was finished, I was kind of like lightheaded, and your feet are securely strapped in the pedals. And I was wondering if you like passed out and your legs were just stuck there, you'd have like 2 broken ankles.
I remember when
He
you guys.
doesn't even know what I just said because
Yeah.
I remember when you guys
you'd
got
be
the
laying
Peloton.
there and your feet would still be attached to the damn bike, but you'd be over the back.
I gotta say, this is
one for sure you would hurt. Oh,
very
geez.
entertaining for me because I remember when you guys got the Pelotons.
2 years ago now.
And
Almost 2 years ago.
There was the
Almost
sending
3 years ago.
pizzas to each other's houses. There was
yeah.
all of that, and now there are clothing racks with the subscription.
No. Mine still gets used
I
in my house.
I was riding mine really good up until the last 3 weeks of December, and I'll be getting back on it. I am also.
Well, 'tis the season. It's resolution
Yo,
season.
okay, so I saw it hanging on by a thread. Jay's mic just fell off its mic arm because, of course, it did. And I saw it hanging on by a thread the few times Evander touched it. And I was like, oh, my God, the mic's going to fall onto him. Also, he almost fell on the courts. It was
Oh,
a
he
wild
kicked over the
time.
camera, too. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, camera
Also,
reset.
this is just the universe telling you that these mic arms ain't it.
It's because you guys don't know how to use them.
Oh, they are terrible.
They're awful.
This one's actually not bad.
It's great.
This one's a lot better than what everyone used to be
I'm
here.
screwing the microphone back in. It's not even. What the hell?
So did you guys have a good New Year's? What did you guys do on New Year's? Any plans?
Nothing really.
I did a B-cast until like 11:30.
Are you guys are you getting to that age where you're not going out?
I never cared about New Year's.
No?
Once I got out of high school, it's just a day to me.
New Year's is one of those things where like you realize you don't have plans on like the 29th.
Yeah.
And then you're like, shit. And then a bunch of friends call and you're kind of like, hey, should we do something? I don't know. Should we do something? So a little get together of like 5 couples came about on like the 30th. But unfortunately, the kid had a dog park accident. Yeah, his dog got bit. And then he had to take him to the emergency ER. So those plans got squashed because we couldn't exactly leave him home by himself.
Yeah, my dude Frank, I don't take him to dog parks.
No.
I don't trust
kind of
other
down on
people's
dog
dogs.
parks right now.
I don't trust other people's dogs. That's mostly it.
So this is it a known thing that if you take your dog to a dog park, you're doing it at the risk that this could happen?
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
So is there an unwritten rule that you don't take your dog to the dog park if he is
A shit?
if a shithead? I mean, for lack of a better term, if you think the possibility is there that he could do this.
My dog, like Frank, I think he's one of the friendliest dogs that
So is
I've
Leon, my
experienced.
dog. Absolutely one of the friendliest dogs I've ever seen.
And I just don't know everybody else's dogs. And also, you don't know how your dog, like, who knows? Maybe there's a dog that's just looking at Frank funny and all of a sudden Frank wants to throw hands.
Right.
And then all of a sudden
It's
that's my
weird,
problem.
eh? Like sometimes there might be a chemical. Like,
Yeah, there might be just something.
Yeah.
Something.
Well, honestly, there is something with that because, like, my dog does not, he loves everybody, but I have one friend who comes to my house, and when he does, my dog growls and is like super protective for some reason.
He knows.
And I cannot figure it out.
So like one time I was just at the park by my house and Frank was on leash and he was just cruising around and a little Shih Tzu came up to Frank and I'm like, oh, it's a tiny dog, whatever. And immediately went straight, bit him on the face.
Oh.
Frank,
It was like a playful bite.
oh no. Frank got mad, bigger of the two dogs, basically pinned him down and he's going out. I'm like, whoa. And then I get yelled at for this? I'm just not putting myself in
And
that
that's
situation.
the thing. Yeah, that's one. So this situation, I wasn't there, but my wife was there. And in this situation, there was a person with 4 dogs, and our kids had gone to school together, so my wife and her knew each other. But they had the 4th dog was an 8-month-old, and after Leon was sniffing the 8-month-old, and the oldest one attacked Leon a little bit, she was like, oh, he gets very protective. If you know that, should you not be taking the dog to the dog park?
Probably, yeah.
I would also say that if your dog doesn't have a recall, you shouldn't be taking them to the dog park.
Sure. Absolutely.
for
That's
sure.
a given.
That
I think
drives
that's
me
like
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, like something you yell to make him come to you?
Doesn't matter what's going on. If you can't yell at your dog and it comes right back to you, I don't think you should be at the dog park on off leash.
I totally agree.
Frank will not come. If he sees a rabbit, he's gone. So I don't let him off leash.
I think dogs with the best recall in the world still are gone if they see a rabbit.
Hot dog goes ham for squirrels and rabbits.
Well, Frank's a terrier, so any of those small, like rat-like animals, he's fired up about it.
I got to say that Edmonton is very lucky because New Year's Eve at 2 p.m, there's not a lot of vet clinics open, but we have a vet ER, and we took them there. And I mean, I'm expecting this bill to be quite substantial, and it was not. And they were so quick, and it was so good. And we took him home, and you know it's been great so far. He had to have like a drain put in, like a stent to like drain the fluid. Oh, it was a big cut.
Gross.
Yeah, but anyways, he's doing great. I love that guy. It made me really like recapture my love for. Like I've always had love for him, but like you just go, God, you know, you're such a good dog. You didn't deserve that shit, and it really puts you on into another level of like appreciation of him, of your dog.
Before we keep moving on the pod, got to give some love to Tourism Jasper because we are now like 23 days away from the beginning of our Jasper Pond Hockey Tournament. CHEHockey.com is where you can go. That
Are
is the
you
link.
ready for some red wine?
No, I am swearing
The
off
Nation Red Wine Summit.
The good news is Amber's there this year, so
Oh, well, Amber's going to join the red wine party.
She does
You know
the
why
red
that's
wine.
good news?
Just hold it. Just hold.
You know
the
why
mic
that's
if you
good news
can.
for me is because Aaron is also going to be there, and maybe they can go somewhere together.
Me missus
have a
will
night,
also be
Ava
there.
will be there
and
too.
we can go somewhere and have a night.
missus.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember when we went and played outdoor hockey at the Pyramid Lake with the on the bench guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who will be there again this year?
Who will be there again this year? Well,
great.
I felt bad because I was like leaving my family, right? But like JR's bringing his family, his wife and kid, and
I don't have
Baggedmilk's
a
bringing
kid.
his girlfriend. No kid, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And so they now have like a support system where they can sit
I
in the
was
lobby
thinking-
of the JPL, which was one of the best places on earth.
Little spa day for the ladies.
Little spot. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
This will be music to Frank Saravalli's ears because he's worried that there's not going to be enough bro time.
There was
will be.
tons of
So
bro
Oh,
time.
there's going to be tons
We
of
bro
bro time.
down every night.
Can we do this? Can we do like a segment where we make content out of this? But what I didn't know was that on the driving range at the JPL, they have like quite an extensive sledding hill.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go sledding in between like our games. Let's not just do that thing where we go drink in the lobby. I know we have to do like a pod, but we did. Let's
I
go
wanna
drink
drink
on
in
the
the lobby.
sledding hill. No, but let's go drink on the sled hill. I think we should do some content.
Did
where we're like,
you did you promise some sledding to your kids and you're trying to bring us there so you don't?
well, I wasn't even going to invite the kids.
Oh, okay.
It was just going to be us. I'll sled with the kids another
Are
day.
you open, Tyler, to another round of Tyler tries at the JPL?
If it's sledding, yes. If
You've
it's
never
red
tried
wine and
sledding?
oysters, I've tried sledding. If it's red wine and oysters, I'm out.
It was fantastic.
What's something new
I
that
have
we can get him to
nightmares.
try? A human centipede on the
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna say this is a fucking ad read.
Oh shit!
No, the ad read's
I
done.
meant on the sledding. Like we'd go 4 in a row. Sledding.
If you want to head out to Jasper in January, the Jasper in January event is going January 13th till the 29th, which is right around when we'll be there as well.
And the
Celebrate-
weather's great right now. Get out there.
yeah.
I love Marmot Basin.
Celebrate the lighter side of winter. Lots of exciting events happening, including a street party with live bands, whiskey, wine, and hops. It's the ultimate, I hope it's the ultimate après.
Après. I'm a big après ski guy.
Yeah.
Loving out price ski.
But the things you can count on for the pond hockey tournament, we're going to be hosting a hot stove. Tyler, you might be the host. We'll figure that out later. With the on the bench guys, Sarah Volley. We've
I
got
like your face.
Barn burner dudes.
we got Barn Burner. We got
I'm down to
Franklin
do
is
that.
Franklin Saravalli.
we have Francis
Franklin Theodore
Saravalli,
Saravalli.
and we have the on the bench guys. Do a hot stove the first night, and then we're going to do an Oilers Nation watch party
Okay,
the
I'll
second
be the
night.
6th mic. It's cool.
And
I'll do
then,
it too.
Chalmers will finally give him a mic at that
Yeah,
event.
right.
I'm interested to see what the post watch party contest feat of strength is going to
we have
be.
to-
Not planking.
the
this time.
plank contest was outrageously
Let's do
fun.
headstands because I fucking nail headstands.
Well, we might have to do it. We can game it so Chalmers can win.
Yep.
Chalmers won it last time. We gotta go 2-0.
And then I'm still, we got a meeting with JPL next week. I've made a couple requests or provided some feedback from last year's in terms of they really want to work with us on trying to figure out how they can continue to grow this tournament and keep kind of building out the activation of it. So we had some really good feedback, and I think JPL is going to be able to accommodate some of it. So once it's confirmed, I'll share with everyone what it is. And it'll really add to the event.
A contest of who can shotgun a beer the fastest.
You sent me that video from our room. I feel like I'd be
You
in the
might win.
mix.
You might win. Cone.
I've told JPL to hide all pylons while we were there.
We'll see about that. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted to do what?
Find a traffic cone.
We also got to give some love to our friends at AMA Travel because at this time next week we are going to be at the airport about
can't
ready to go to
believe-
Vegas.
AMA
I can't
taking
believe
us to Vegas.
that it's a week away already.
We also have the trip to Toronto coming up March 10th to 12th. If you want to find out more about that and how AMA Travel is helping us just put on an absolute hell of a trip, head to nationgear.ca. You'll see it right there. It's the first thing. Toronto 2.0. Your ticket on the trip gets you your flight, gets you your hotel, gets you your transport to and from the hotel when we're in Toronto, and a ticket to watch Edmonton, Toronto Saturday night from a gondola suite. This trip is bougie, and it's all because our friends at AMA Travel know how to come through.
Tyler, in terms of like timing, we're there mid-March. How far out would we be of also slipping in another sporting event while we're there?
Oh, they don't start till April.
Yeah, Jays don't start till late.
But basketball might be still going.
Wait, yeah, 1 second.
Ooh, I would love to go to a Raptors game.
Like maybe they play Friday night.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Maybe MLS is fired up. Maybe the Argos are playing for some reason.
I've never been to an NBA game. I would love
March
to go.
10th to 12th. They play in LA on the 10th and the 8th, and then they're not back home till the 14th. Boo.
That would have been awesome.
Right, because it's a Leafs homestand.
Yeah, Leafs home. It makes sense.
I've never been to an NBA game. I'd love to go.
Yeah, I've only been to one. It was a good time. Oh, someone else. Any of you guys big New Year's resolution people?
No, I think they're done.
Not
I haven't
be
done
fat.
I haven't done my goal setting yet. I know and
they're
that's
done.
okay. It doesn't have to happen before the end of the year.
I'm trying to be better, but I'm not holding myself to a goal. You know?
Well, I told you I was my if we're gonna set New Year's resolutions, I might as well set one that's outrageous. I'm gonna replace Takeoff and Migos. That's my New Year's resolution.
Why'd you just turn on that light?
Did I?
What light?
Did that light just come on?
Nope. Been on you the whole show, Charles.
Jesus Christ, it's bright. Yeah, so my New Year's resolution is to stop being fat.
Me
So we're going to
too.
do our
Val.
best.
What an interesting.
Me too.
What an
Drink
interesting
less,
take.
stop being fat.
I'm trying to drink less too. That's my thing.
Although
Yeah.
Jay gave me a charcuterie board kit the other day, I'm powering through it.
How is it?
It's delightful.
Oh, nice.
The meats, the cheeses, the crackers. You know, I couple that with a nice glass of red. All of a sudden, I'm having a good evening.
Well, I've come back from my ski trip with this skier's cough, and it's
Cigars?
no, I didn't have any cigars, which is actually odd. I'm surprised. No, I didn't have
Trip darts?
Didn't
Trip
have
darts
trip
don't
darts.
count.
Ripping butts on the hill on the chairlift?
You know, it's kind of weakened my appetite. So it's been kind of nice to not like eat at the volume that I like to eat at.
Well, give me a kiss so I can get that cough so I can.
Well, I don't know if it's
curb my
contagious
appetite.
or not. I honestly think it's. I came into Christmas extremely run down just because working like crazy, just having to help Eva because December at Duchess is like their Super Bowl, so Eva's working all hours of the day.
CEO, constantly entertaining others.
Yeah, so I had to do a lot of childcare at nighttime, so I'm barely getting any sleep and just working, and then Christmas hits, and I just like my body just says, okay, I have to like go through this phase right now.
And oh my God, we got to talk about your flight too. That was fucking buddy. So he went to Big White, which is flying into Kelowna, and obviously it's very well documented that airline travel right now is not the most efficient thing happening right now, as it never is over the holidays. But
Coupled with
JR
all
was
of the
keeping us
disruption.
very, very aware of what you were of the moment to moment happenings of your flight.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, for one whole day, I was just gripped. I did not know if you were going to get there. You made a decision
It
to
was
cancel the
wild.
flight you were on, book another flight, knowing what was happening. It was riveting.
Yeah, it was wild. Obviously,
baby
with
the
a
whole
baby,
time.
we have obviously a lot of disruption in the travel industry for a few reasons. That crazy Arctic vortex, or whatever, that came and disrupted North America,
Arctic vortex.
had a huge impact and disrupted travel as airports got shut down. Got a crazy trickle effect. Also, like a lot of people were like getting like all the flus and like COVID and still stuff going around. Like a lot of people calling in sick. So short staff, mass disruption, and all of a sudden it's like 4 a.m. before the day we have to leave, and I get a notification saying, Kate, your flight's 40 minutes delayed. Oh, okay, that's all good. Then it's 60 minutes delayed. Then it's 90 minutes delayed. Then it's two hours delayed. And then, you know, it was a flight supposed
They
to leave
just
at
kept
5.
kicking the can.
Yeah, it was a flight that's supposed to leave at 5. And now all of a sudden it's 7:45. And it stayed at that time because we were getting ready to leave the house, and we would check like, oh no, it's been disrupted. So we're like, screw this, we'll stay at home. But it stayed at 7:45 for a long time. So like, okay, this would be the time we would leave for a 7:45 flight. Okay, good. We get to the airport, still 7:45. I talk to the people at the desk, like, is this flight good? They're like, yeah, no, this one is one of the good ones. Some of the other ones are at jeopardy. I'm like, okay, good. We go to the airport lounge, just hang out, chill. Okay, it's time to go leave for our flight. As soon as that, I look at my phone, delayed another 90
And
minutes.
here's where knowing the inner workings of how airport and flights work is really important. We have
a buddy.
My brother's a pilot.
Yeah, we have
And
another
we
buddy
have a
who's
really
a
good
pilot.
friend who's a pilot, and they can look up inner things. Okay, so if you're a crew that's supposed to leave at a certain time, you show up.
Okay.
You can only be on the clock for a certain amount of hours, and that includes your flight time. So if it's like 12 hours and your flight's delayed 6, and the process of actually flying there and landing and then getting off the flight is another 6, that 12-hour window is too long. They cannot work a 1 minute. I don't know if it's 12 hours, but they can't work 1 minute over their allotted time frame. Okay. So, You have to know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so what was really pushing it close was whether or not the crew was going to time out, they call it.
And
that's what would lead to it being canceled.
Yes.
Yeah, so the
And then
lady,
it would cancel it.
the lady at the desk didn't know what their hours were because I asked her specifically that. She's like, that
She's
could
probably
be
never been asked that, but
So,
I mean, probably has.
I'm
But.
fascinated you guys knew that.
So the reason,
yeah.
so there was 4 flights to Kelowna with the same airline, all super delayed, and 2 of them, which the one I was on, had to. My plane was in Saskatoon, trying to leave Saskatoon. That was the issue; it couldn't leave Saskatoon, and there was another one leaving Regina. So I'm working with this lady because I'm like, holy crap! Like, there's this hours thing we don't know. This plane needs to get in the air now.
So many factors.
Yeah,
It's so
and
good.
I'm like, oh, this other airline has a flight that leaves at like 10:25, but it's also already itself delayed 50 minutes. I'm like, oh my god. So I'm talking, and she was super nice. I'm like, here's my situation, because the thing is if I don't, because of how busy the season is, my next flight I can't get on is like 2 days later.
Ooh, so the
And this is like a 4-day trip.
yeah.
Right, so like that's 2 nights of accommodation I've pissed away, and 2 days of skiing, and so I'm like we've got to get, and plus like we're there with our daughter, we'd have to like we gotta leave tonight. So I just said, okay, let's figure out if this plane in Saskatoon's leaving. She's like, okay, I'm gonna try to find that out. But in the meantime, what happened is we heard that the Kelowna flight that's connected to the plane that's stuck in Regina has now been canceled. So I'm like, well, if that one's canceled, then and it's in Regina, they're only 2 hours apart. Like, they must be fighting the same weather situation. This one for sure is going to get canceled. So I said, okay, I'm hitting pay right now because I had the flight load up. I'm hitting pay right now. She's like, I can refund you for this leg. I'm like, great. I'm like, can you pull my bags off? She's like, yeah. So I go down. So I would go down to get all my bags. There's like 1,000 bags just sitting around us. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get my bags? And thankfully they were able to get them.
The uncertainty at this time is just like top level.
But then she's like, okay, I'll go get your bags. I go look at my phone and it shows that the flight from Saskatoon was able to take off. And I'm like,
So now
oh
you
my
now
God.
you think you've made the wrong decision.
Oh my God. I'm like, no. I'm like, is there any way I can get these? Could I keep them on the plane and I could keep this ticket? She's like, I've already pulled them. I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm like,
Oh, I wanted Tyler to make a joke saying land the plane, like what you would say with a story that's going on.
anyways.
Land the plane.
Anyway, so here I am, caused all this disruption for my
Trying to feed you
family,
a joke,
and I'm
you're
just
a joke.
like stressed out that now this plane's there. We could have just chilled and watched the rest of the Oiler game really calmly, as opposed to like frantically running all over the place, getting baggage, having to leave security, go check in on the new flight, go back through security.
But
The
you were
minute,
absolutely
but my,
vindicated.
the gut instinct and decision was right, because the minute I landed, I checked, and that flight ended up
the
getting
flight
canceled.
that he was originally on
And why?
was canceled.
For the pilot and flight attendant
timed
hours.
out.
They timed out.
And so he was absolutely vindicated in the fact that he made a gamble of buying another flight, canceling the one that he was already on,
It's like Amazing Race.
getting your shit all out. All these factors had to happen perfectly. And if he gets there with the airline that he's now on and the other one shows up, well, not a big deal. You know what? He just put himself through a whole bunch of stress. But if that original flight gets canceled, it's like, I did everything was worth it. And it was so fucking good.
Because it was.
I was up at like
I
midnight.
felt
I'm
so
like,
good.
oh, he did it. It was canceled.
And we didn't get to our accommodations like 3 a.m. It was a long day. Anyways.
Note to self. Well, we had a friend that drove the same exact trip to
but that
meet
was-
you.
yeah,
and he was in not good driving conditions. Like white knuckling it
Like
in a
did
snowstorm
50,
with bad roads is probably the worst thing. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. Like, I hate
Especially
that.
driving through the mountains, man, and some of those turns you
fucking
got to
worst.
take.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know if it's slippery. You don't want to slam your brakes to test it.
And it's getting shut down for avalanche work and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was like, yeah, no, I'm the genius flying, but then had to go through that just crazy torment. But you know what? We got there, and then the flight home everything went smooth there. So it was just it's just a crazy time, and that's just a personal tale. But everywhere I went, we landed in Kelowna, go to get our bags. Once again, right around the baggage turnstile, hundreds and hundreds of bags. I'm like, oh my God, how long is it for our bags to come out? Like, obviously, those are just bags from other flights, because what's happening is like baggage isn't getting on planes and stuff. And so like all of a sudden like a plane will just show up with a bunch of other bags from a previous flight that didn't have any bags.
No crew.
So like the airports are just covered in bags all over the place. It's crazy.
This is tying it back to our Vegas trip, but I'm working with the rest of the team out there that's coming. I'm like, all right, we need to divide up the podcast gear. Everyone take a little bit because I am not checking a bag on this trip.
Okay, but what if one bag is gone, then all the equipment's useless?
No, everyone will carry it on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to work with everyone. So everyone's just going to take, like,
keep it on your person.
You're taking 2 mics. You're taking 2 lights. You're taking the stands. I'm taking the roadcaster.
Who's the one that gets to take the stands?
Not the mic stands. I mean, like, the little tripods we have.
I don't think the stands will make it. I don't think they can
That's a good
handle the
idea.
travel.
Keep it on your person.
Yeah.
So what do we got going on for content? We got 2 pregame shows.
Well, so I was going to run this through. So this coming Monday, we're going to do real life. Next Thursday, no real life podcast.
Okay.
Because
We
we
do it
won't
when
be
we
able
land
to.
in Vegas.
Yeah. But we will try to either do it when we land in Vegas Thursday, or I was actually thinking a bonus on Saturday once we have some Vegas tales built up in us.
Yeah.
But there will be a real life podcast while we're there. There'll be 2 Short for Giant pregame shows while we're there. There'll be an Oilers Nation radio because the whole cast of ONR is there. So we'll have one of those. We'll do a Better Late Than Never as well, and a bunch of great social content.
Wow.
It's a lot of content.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a great end. Are we going to be hosting a high five line?
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
How could you not?
So we're hosting a watch party for the game against, was it San Jose they're playing the night before?
Yep.
At Tom's Watch Bar, New York. So anyone who is in Vegas that loves our favorite Edmonton team, come and join us there. We hosted a giant party last year. We were only a crew of 50, but somehow like 300 people showed up.
That's the best.
Is that the bar with the like upper portion that's outside?
I don't know.
Oh,
Nation
New
Dan,
York has a bar right below it. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
I've also set the over-under at 3.5 for trips to Taco Bell Cantina.
well, it's easily going to be over.
It's over. Yeah.
Life's too short to bet the under.
Last thing I want to talk about, Charles, because you're here. DeMar Hamlin, were you watching that game live?
I was. Yeah. So I was watching the game. I was going back and forth from the World Junior game to the Buffalo Bills Cincinnati Bengals game.
Yeah.
I had 12th place in my fantasy football league
On the
line with Josh Allen going and Dawson Knox going. So I was invested in the game. I was. And I watched Bedard score a highlight reel goal to win it for us against Slovakia.
Unreal.
And then I immediately changed back to the hockey game or to this football game, and it was suspended. And I was probably about 15 minutes late to what had actually happened. But I quickly checked Twitter. I quickly checked Instagram. And the tone around the whole game was very serious. And it was a position that I don't envy anybody to be in.
Oh, yeah.
People like Susie Kolber and Booger McFarland and Adam Schefter having to, ad-lib, not having these, their quick hits. Now they're having to basically...
Yeah.
So I realized what happened. Then I had to go search for the video because obviously they weren't showing it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what exactly had happened. And when I saw it, I was just like everybody else in this world. I was pretty shooken by it. I mean, it was quite intense. And I've watched football religiously for a very long time now. You see guys get injured. You see things, and you always kind of wait for that, thumbs up on the stretcher as they're leaving, or word from the hospital that they're responsive and everything's good, and it just never came. And it was just kind of like, I didn't mean for it to grip me and keep me at my island watching this, but it absolutely did. And it was one of those moments where I realized that I wanted information, but I wish I could have filtered out the bullshit. Just the stuff that I didn't want.
Well, so I have a few thoughts on this because, as you know, I'm obviously a diehard Bills fan.
Yes,
I
you
was
are.
not watching the Canada game. I was watching the Bills game. And as soon as he went down, you can kind of tell when there's that urgency on the field.
Yeah.
Like when guys are when everyone starts waving, you're like, oh boy. And when he first went down, I'm obviously not thinking it's anything too crazy, but you saw the urgency, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a long pause. Flip back to the Canada game, came back to the Bills game, and they were showing the replay. And when you watch him take almost like a step and then collapse, you're you're thinking neck injury first, right? Because that's usually what these kind of things are, because they were holding up
Yeah, and his body. Yep, absolutely.
But then when he gets up and walks, I was just like, what could that even be? But then there was a lot of, how do I want to, like the broadcasting crew, I think did a great job with it, right? Because it's a news story at that point and you need to stay on and cover it because everyone watching at home needs to know. But then there were the people who were ripping the NFL. And I did, like in the moment, I thought that was weird. These people roasting the NFL for, they were obviously never going to play. Like they were obviously not going to play.
Okay, and I agree with that, maybe. Because I still don't know what to believe. In the moment, you saw the players, you saw Zach Thomas go across the field, and you saw him go to Sean McDermott. They have a conversation. Players start to pack up their stuff, and they start to walk off the field. I believe that was initially them saying, we're not fucking doing this. This is from us. Yeah. We're the teams. Let's go in. But you can't call that game without the NFL saying you can't call the game.
Yeah.
And Joe Buck, 4 times, said, the NFL said they will get a 5-minute warm-up, and we will reconsume this game. He has not stepped back from that point, no matter what Troy Vincent has said, who is the executive vice president of the NFLPA. No, not PA. Sorry, the NFL. The NFL saying there was never going to be a game. They were never going to do it. Joe Buck said it 4 times. I don't know where he got his information from.
Probably from the NFL.
Probably. There's two other points of time where you absolutely knew this game wasn't happening. And number 2 was in the hallway where Roger Goodell's like boots on the ground. I don't know what her name was, but she had Zach Thomas and Sean McDermott talking. But when they started to pack up the shit, there was no word, but the crew was like, they're packing this stuff up.
Yeah. But so like my problem with people roasting the NFL is like Roger Goodell is not on the field at all times being like, time to call the game.
No.
So the refs in that moment and the game officials are doing what is taught in the book. This has never happened before. A player has never had to be brought back to life on the field. And I thought it's a miracle and it should be almost a compliment to the NFL's protocols medically. And I don't need to stand up for the NFL at all. But like doctors and NFL officials went out there and saved a dude's life on the field. And the refs are sitting there going, okay, major injury. What's our next check on the rule book? Because that's what they're supposed to do. Okay, the players get a 5-minute
you go through the protocols put in front of you.
People were like, this is the NFL doesn't care about. And like, yeah, sure, but like in that moment, the doctors saved a dude's life. Yeah, did it take an hour to come to that conclusion? Yes, because you need to make sure you go through all the.
Okay, but did it surprise you that people like Susie Colbert were in the studio broadcasting an NFL game, which they clearly are in business with, and being very like we haven't heard from them. They cannot play like. Very critical of the NFL. There's steps. There's steps you have to go through.
Steps you have to go through. And I almost didn't like that because it was like, the priority right now isn't communicating with the media. It's making sure like a guy doesn't die. So anyways, I thought that was weird. And then also like people, it drives me nuts in these moments. And I know it's social media. So like, why should I even be surprised? But like in moments like these, when we should be like empathetic and like my biggest concern was like, oh my God, is he going to be okay? Like they're obviously not playing this game. And a lot of people wanted to jump down the throat of, what's his name there? Skip Bayless. For like the most mild thing Skip Bayless has probably ever tweeted.
I am never going to be in a camp that takes up for what Skip Bayless says.
No.
But right before that tweet, there was another tweet that was like, this is awful, thoughts and prayers and everything. He was literally just communicating what I know a ton of people were thinking.
Yeah.
And when I first saw
it all seems so small or whatever.
And I didn't even see his tweet. I saw Kendrick Perkins say, like, this is a trash take. And then I read what it was. And I was like, yeah, this is not great. But then in the comments, somebody had posted the tweet earlier, 4 minutes earlier. And it was actually like really empathetic with what was happening. But that's okay. So it was just this is a really weird thing to do. But Skip Bayless has these people who are always going to have this narrative around him.
Yeah.
Just like Evander Kane.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay. When I was thinking about Evander Kane, I'm like, there's always going to be this narrative around people who are polarizing. And Skip Bayless, he could have meant nothing by that.
And I think he did mean
I don't think he meant anything by it. But Shannon Sharp took the next day off, eh?
Yeah, but I think that's...
So then he came back to explain why he did, and Skip went back into Skip and like interrupted his monologue about why he took the day off. And it was fucking brutal, man. Like
I don't watch their show. I just saw the tweet and I was like, man, and again, in a moment where like a guy might have just died on a football field everyone wants to scream at Skip Bayless, and like everyone just wanted to yell and be mad at the NFL, mad at this. And it's like, why do you have to be mad right now? Like, I'm holding my breath waiting for an update. I think
in those moments, though, everybody has to realize that they have their own way of perceiving this.
Yeah.
Like, you get Ryan Clark and Booger McFarland, who are ex-players who are going to perceive it one way. Mm-hmm. And then you've got people like Susie Colbert who are going to perceive it another way.
A news angle way.
A news angle way. And then you have people like Skip who have a take who are going to perceive it another way. And none of, like, unless you were the person that tweeted out there, how is my fantasy football season going to be ended? Then you are not a bad person. You're just somebody who is looking at it from your own myopic view of the whole situation, right? Like, my sons were in the house, and I looked at them, and I was like, my son was like, Dad, this is really, like, sad. And I said to him, those guys that they're showing on the screen are gladiators. Those guys are like really strong men. Yeah. And you look at the biggest man in the world and they're crying on the field. Yeah. I'm like, this is a really serious thing, son. Like, this is something that it's above sports. It doesn't matter how tough you are when you see shit like this. And thinking about those players and just like having to go back in the dressing room and like Stephon Diggs going to the hospital. Like, there's been a lot of positive things that have come out of this.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, I can understand how everybody their own view would be taken over.
The Bills were back at practice today, and the latest update we kind of got on DeMar Hamlin came from the hospital in Cincinnati, and it was that he's responsive. And he became responsive at some point over the last 24 hours. The doctors had him communicating by writing messages, and the first thing he did when he woke up is he wrote down who won the game.
Who won the game? So here's the thing. A neurologist, what they say is that, like, they don't consider it to be positive information unless you're doing movements or acknowledging people in an active way.
Yeah.
And that is like, if you just lift up your hand, you're not doing anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you squeeze a hand because somebody asked you to, that's a positive thing, right? Yeah. And he was doing that kind of stuff, and he was writing, and he was like,
I bet you it feels like he just like
that's what I was,
like 1 second went by. I bet you it feels like for him.
Yeah. So I really like, here's the good side of sports. Here's the good side of just humanity. And I made sure to constantly update my kids on what this was about. But that toy drive, man, if you don't know about the toy drive yet, then I don't know where you've been.
Crazy. It's like $6 million or something now.
Well, did you see what Fanatics is doing? No. So like the number one selling jersey right now on Fanatics is Hamlin, right?
Yeah.
Hamlin type? Yeah. Is Hamlin jersey. Then they're donating all the proceeds to the toy drive.
It's just it in a really, really, really super shitty moment. It shows you just like that there's a lot of, and when I looked on that GoFundMe site and it was at $3.2 million, it wasn't, the top donor was $5,000. Yeah. It wasn't somebody who went and did like $100,000. It was $20, $30, $5.
Everyone, yeah.
It was just like 60,000 people had donated. And that, I made sure to like really amplify that, son, this is a really shitty thing that's happening on the field, but there's a lot of really good things happening outside of this that are, you know, and I just, 24 years old, man, his mom, you know, he was making $860,000 this year with a $120,000 bonus. And he'd only been in the league for 2 years, and you don't get your pension until 5 years. I mean,
yeah, I think they are. I think
there's a lot of question marks.
His one rep kind of said they're going to make sure some of that money's used to like make sure his medical expenses.
Well, and I'm sure the Bills like his toy drive, that's great. $2,500. If you watch the video, what they raised for $25, bought a ton of kids' stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I really hope that he gets well compensated. I know that the league, this is so, it's so visual that there's no way the league can just like take a step back from this and say, you know, we're not going to. There's some really, if you go to Cleveland Sports Show, there's a clip that's kind of gone viral of a guy who gives a lot of points that have to do with like the concussion.
Yeah.
It's really jarring. And if you find it, find it. If you don't want to look for it, don't. But it's like that 6% of people from the concussion lawsuit have been paid out.
Wow.
And that was 5 years ago. And like 80% of claims are being, you know, yeah, it just sucks. It sucks. And it's the real side of sports, but that is a game that is just violent.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, like, I don't know, the Saturday games, I'm glad there's not a Thursday night game tonight, because I don't know how those teams would handle it. Like, it's very quickly after this fact.
Well, so the Bills actually, this just came up on my tweet deck as we were talking about this. The Josh Allen and Sean McDermott are doing a joint press conference right now. Reporter asked, do you feel like you're ready to play a football game? McDermott said, I'll start. Allen cut him off and said, I do. So seems like I think there has to be some sort of a switch that flips when you hear he's like cognitive.
And so you know that these guys are getting information that we are not.
Yeah.
And that, to me, him saying that sounds very positive in the fact that they know something good is happening.
Yeah.
And that, like, these guys, man, like Damar Hamlin's probably sitting in a room being like, go fucking win this thing, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, go do this thing and go play Cincinnati. It doesn't...
They're not going to play Cincinnati. The NFL announced that.
Oh, they did? Okay, so I don't know the news on that.
The AP has a report. Yeah, they're not going to do that. One of the ideas that's being speculated is every team's going to play their final game this week. And if that game is a factor, basically meaning if Buffalo and KC were to tie, or would have been a tie because that game's indifferent, they might have a hybrid situation where KC, if they are the 1 seed, gets to choose. You can either have the bye, but you would be forfeiting home field in a potential AFC championship against the Bills, or you can play in that first round of the playoffs and keep your home field, and the Bills, even though they're second, would be treated as the top seed with a bye, but wouldn't get home field.
Okay, I'm not a shithead, and I could give 2 fucks about like fantasy football, but like that's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, but everything's just
all I'm saying is there is millions and millions of leagues out there that first place, 12th place, 5th place, 6th place, doesn't matter. We're decided on this.
Yeah, but like if you're playing fantasy football.
But no. I don't care about the fantasy football player. What I'm getting at is like NFL.com, Yahoo, these guys that run the leagues, like, what do they do?
They've kind of all already decided.
That it's just done. That it's just done, that week 17's done.
Yeah.
If that game doesn't play, week 17's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to go to their fantasy football commissioner and be like, I lost by 10 points, and I had Josh Allen, and
they'll be playing the world's tiniest violin.
And it didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything, above the bigger picture, but it's something to think about, dude. Like, you have to think. If you don't think about it, then you're just not thinking about it on the full. Like, it's, dudes, it's 4 days later. Like, we can actually have a discussion about this by now, knowing Damar Hamlin's getting better.
Yeah, I just think, but that injuries happen. Like, like that'd be like if Jamar Chase tore his ACL in the first play and you went to your commissioner.
Okay,
like,
I guess I could give 2 shits about any league, and if I fucking lose, I lose, and I don't give a shit. I do not care. I guess what I'm saying is, something like this could not have happened at a worse time. Because it's week 17. It's the game. Monday nighter. The most. I'm just devil's advocate. It was the most looked forward to game of like the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
This was a fucking huge game.
Someone made that point of like how many tackles are made in an NFL season. Now, how many tackles have been made in NFL history. Now think of all the games that are played. Like the fact it happened on a Monday nighter in Cincinnati. And there's also a weird trend of like, do you remember the Ryan Shazier injury? That was a Monday.
Of course I do. They went back and played the rest of that game.
They did. But I think that was a Monday nighter, but it was in Cincinnati.
Yep.
Anyways, we need to wrap this up.
We are so late.
I need to get that Evander Kane episode up. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed that. Shout out to Montana's.
Jay, what do you think of the Damar Hamlin incident?
No, I don't. Okay.
Tyler and I spent a bunch of time on it and Owen every day.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? What the hell's Owen in every day?
Oh my God.
Oh, did you see that tweet about how the NHL needs to... Oh, you guys put it out. The NHL needs to...
I want to wrap the episode.
The NHL needs to rethink how they do starting goalies for betting purposes. Hello?
Oilers.
Hello?
That was an Oilers Nation article. Okay,
Hello?
We're done.
9 months. 9 months. 9 mash.
Talk to everybody on Monday.